Mashtaler and Mike Seitel. We'll tell you a little more about them a little later. But as always, I like to start out with, who's the Rothman Institute? Many of you have seen this. Our mission is to support, promote, and research entrepreneurship with a special focus on family and veteran businesses. Obviously, we work with students as well. We wouldn't exist without some of our family business sponsors, our TD Bank Charitable Foundation, Provident Bank, SunTrust, and Commerce and Industry Association of New Jersey. As many of you know, Tony Russo is the president of CIA&J, and he's a partner in this and is often in to ask some of the questions about policy. They are currently having their annual meeting right now, and former Governor Christie is speaking as we speak. I was on that a little earlier. So he won't be with us today. As many of you know, last week was Family Business Week, the week that we designated as a week around the world when you identify and support a family business. The website's familybusinessweek.com. We want people to do that every day of every week, but certainly have a week dedicated to that. And our Shop Family NJ is one where you can buy some gift cards from restaurants and others who've been hurt so much by this pandemic. In addition, we have a TV show, and we were just saying, Dennis was on Monday. Mike was on actually 2 shows several months ago. Family Business World, we're going to get Laura on the show. And what we do is really highlight and celebrate family businesses. There's so many aspects of family businesses that people don't know about. And my hope is that the show will encourage people to say, hey, I'm not going to go online. I'm not going to do the big box. I'm going to go to the family businesses. And it airs every Thursday at 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. Obviously, this is our Family Business Friday show that we've been doing since the pandemic started. We took some time off in the summer, but it's just been great to have so many wonderful guests as we have today. Our Veterans Launching Ventures program has really become actually an international program. We had someone from Germany as part of it because we're able to do it through Zoom, where we help family businesses and immediate family. We help veterans and immediate family members of veterans develop a business plan and start their business idea or expand their business. So we are accepting applications now for the program, and it really has just proven to be very, very successful. And these veterans are just amazing people. We also have a YouTube site that really has been underutilized, even though we have 7,000 subscribers. It's the Rothman Institute of Entrepreneurship YouTube channel, where this video and our other videos are up there. So we have the Family Business World TV shows, we have our Business Insights, we have Veterans Launching Ventures, and we have some other programming. We have about 100 videos of our small business series. So this is something I encourage everyone to look at in case you missed this or you want some business ideas. We've just been fortunate enough to have some amazing people. And so here we are today. And so on October 21st, we had our 2020 Family Business of the Year awards. And so this year we were pleased to announce a new Family Business of the Year. One of the realities is that so many of the businesses, Dennis and Mike will tell you about their history, have been around a long time, 20, 30, 40, 50, 150 years. It's hard for a new family business to compete. So this year, our first winner is Laura Mashtaler from Black Swan Espresso in Newark. Laura, congratulations.
Thank you.
So we're going to hear from her in a second. And we have the 2 categories historically, the under 10 million in sales and the over 10 million in sales. And so the under 10 million in sales is Dennis Mikula Jr. of Mikula Contracting. Congratulations, Dennis.
Thank you, Dr. Caldwell.
And we will hear from him. And then Family Business of the Year, over 10 million. Mike Seitel from Norwalt Design. Mike has participated in a number of our programs over the years. Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you, Dale.
And so with that, we're going to get into the discussion. And I want to start with Laura, a new family business. Tell me a little about what does your business do and when was it founded?
So we are Black Swan Espresso. We're a specialty coffee shop, and we were founded in June of 2016. And basically what we do is we serve specialty coffee, okay? And we're really more into the customer experience. So we roast our own beans. We make sure that the customer is getting coffee and pastries the way that they like it. We've been around the neighborhood, as I said, for 4 to 5 years. However, I think that in starting this business, we really got a lot of support from the community. It's really become more of a community endeavor, what we're doing in terms of making coffee and being in the business area of North.
Well, excellent. Again, congrats. Dennis Mikula, Jr., tell me about your business.
Sure. First, congratulations, Laura and Mike. Laura, as I said before, we can't wait to get down there and see your shop. And Mike, can't wait to get together and hopefully share some ideas. So congratulations to you guys, and also Dr. Caldwell for having us. Thank you very much. We have a land improving contracting business. We do excavation and demolition. My grandfather started it in 1946. And we are on nearly at 75 years at the turn of the year right now. So we're looking forward to hopefully to the next 75. So thank you again for having us.
Wonderful. And then Mike Seitel, tell me a little bit about Norwalt Design.
Yeah, we're a automation house, which you probably don't hear much of in Jersey these days, manufacturing. So, we're one of the guys that are building things out there for packaging, consumer goods, medical devices, and other things that get assembled. So people, instead of sending it overseas to low labor, we're bringing a lot's coming back here where we're doing high-speed automation to put things together. It was started by my father and another fellow, 2 immigrants, one from Germany, one from Ireland, that came over they started in 71. So we're 49 years. We were getting ready to plan our 50th party. So hopefully for next September, hopefully it's opened up and we can still do that by then.
So we already got an early comment. So one of the attendees was saying that there's so much conflict in family businesses. This person's been involved with a nephew suing an uncle and an uncle suing a nephew about this. And so I'll go back to Laura. So you and your husband started this business. I mean,
Actually,
tell me about that.
I started the business.
He's not
Everybody always wants to go for the man, but
okay. All right. Okay. So you started the business.
I started the business.
Okay.
He gives advice and puts his 2 cents in like every husband does. So, I mean, it is what it is. But no, I started the business.
Okay.
I started the business and then I got my sons involved. Okay. So now they're, the next generation. I wanted to have a legacy. I want to build something for them in starting the business. And it's been an interesting experience because working with your family, my son wants to call me Laura when we're in the shop because he wants to separate the mom versus the business. So there's definitely this line that we draw, or actually he's the one who drew it. Because I'm like, why are you calling me mom? And he's like, because I want to separate business from family. So when he's family, I'm mom. When we're business, it's Laura. Did you do this? Do you have that? Right. So, just getting them involved has been definitely an experience. I've heard a lot of times, as I said before this call, that people always say, oh, you can't work with family, don't work with family, it's going to be a terrible experience, hire outside. But to be honest with you, it's been the best thing that I've ever done, because as a family, we're definitely working as a unit, and we're trying to build something so that the next generation has something and the generation after that has something. So we're trying to build something together, and I'm very glad that I've done that.
How old is your son?
Is that a secret, or should I?
No.
Because then that means you'll be able to figure out how old I am. So my son, I'm going to say he is 29, and then I have one who's 30.
So the issue about that is that he may see an attractive woman in the place, and he doesn't want to be calling you mom. Right. So that doesn't, that's I was that age once. So that's
okay. So that's what that's about.
That's what that's about. He's not going to call you mom. There's an attractive woman there. He's not going to call you mom. So that's,
it makes sense.
So Dennis, your family dynamics. I mean, it seems like you're one of the things I liked about your interview is that you're very positive and you guys really care about people, and it comes across. Tell me about that.
So I think the most, kind of going off what Laura was saying, like, working together is the most important thing. And we all have our own niche in the business, as far as I think that's very important. And that, the areas that I handle are different areas that my father handles, that my brother and my uncles, because I think when family, we come together and there's major decisions that have to be made. We come in the office, we talk about it. Everything's an open discussion. We take ideas from all around. But I think when you are responsible for different areas, it's easier to work together. When you have a couple family members trying to work together in one department, I think sometimes it becomes a little difficult. So to me, it's keeping everything, keeping everybody in their own lane, knowing where that goes, and it works real well. And in family, I think when you step away, when you step outside of the business area, it never leaves us. We all know that. It's always on our minds. We're thinking about it 24/7 with situations. I think you have to have that separation, whether it's a separation on a Sunday, whether it's a separation at dinner table, and at different times when you can and cannot discuss things because you need it. It's so important. You're around your family, 24/7 when you're in a family-owned business.
Well, that's and I have the honor of knowing Mike's dad, who's just an amazing, just a wonderful, wonderful person. I don't know what happened to Mike, but your dad is no. We've known each other for a while, so Mike, talk about that. Your dynamic, and now your son. You have kids involved.
Yeah, well, it was nice. It started with my father, and he kind of like let me run the reins maybe 12 years ago. Really take it, and which was him and when his partner was alive. They kind of stepped back and they said, "Look, we're done. We don't want to grow it, but it's up to you what you want to do with it. You will go by your decisions," which was nice to see. But they realized we always were in, and they were always in, what do we do to keep the business moving, right? Not to make money, it's because it's all about the employees, really. And we're big enough size that we really don't, we're 65 employees now with not many family members here. It's just me, my father, he's 83 now, and he still is sharp and does work more remote. He doesn't like it because he can't come in because of COVID too much, comes in like a couple hours a week. His brother runs the factory, and then now my oldest son's here working in procurement. But what I did is just to keep what you said, Dennis, is to keep things separate. I have him reporting to another person in the company, just to, so I'm not because you have a dynamic where you don't want to get in arguments or get anyone upset. So we decided to do that. And he reports to another fellow here, and it works out well that way. But my rule is at home, we don't talk about any work at home, because you just would go crazy, especially because I got a wife still, and she doesn't really want to hear us. We could talk about it forever, and it's not fair. Right. And otherwise you never get away from it or a break. I mean, today with cell phones and all of this, customers are they're calling us 24/7. So we really don't get away anymore, but at least maybe while you're eating, you get away for a minute.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So one of the things, Michael, you were saying as we were preparing, and I'll ask Laura that, and I learned this from you, Mike, and then I've had about 35 shows with my show Family Business World, and it's been confirmed with the other family businesses, is that when the next generation starts out sweeping the floors, cleaning toilets, doing that stuff, they grow up to value the business more than they would if they start at a senior level. Now, Laura, you're fairly new, so your family hasn't grown up doing that. Are you and your sons are going to hate me for doing this? Are you making sure that they realize that they need to work their way up from the bottom?
Absolutely, Dale. My son's one is a baker and does a lot of the baking for the shop. And then the other one is a barista, but he started off with no skills as a barista at all. He's a marketing major. So he was working for, ITT and other companies, corporations. So coming here was definitely a change for him. And he had to learn how to make coffee from scratch, from the grinding to the measuring. He had to understand the water filters. I mean, there's a lot. You'd be surprised what goes into a cup of coffee, okay? it's crazy with the water and the filtration systems and all of this. So there's a lot of chemistry involved. There was a lot of understanding the management of how a coffee shop works, and then bringing that to play when you put them into a situation where you have to worry about like hiring and employees and things like that. So he had to learn a lot in a short period of time. And I feel as though he really rose to the occasion. And so did my other son, because I knew he was a good baker. He was doing that in California as a chef. But then when he came here, I was like, oh, I didn't realize you were so good, that, you had these skills that I didn't even know, existed. So it's really been nice to see that growth for both of my sons. But Dale, not only for my sons, but for my employees. I mean, to watch the people who have had no skills to make coffee or work in a coffee shop or run a shop, to watch them grow in the job has been like amazing. I mean, I've seen skills that I never thought I would get from, people walking in the door. I mean, people who know marketing, people who know social media, people who know, how to order and do sales. I mean, at our shop, because it's a lot of millennials, a lot of it is almost self-run, because they all know what to do. I don't have to stay on top of anyone or do this, do that type of thing, because they're all, bright enough and smart enough to take on the responsibility and kind of move it along. So I feel very lucky in that way.
Well, that's a very positive thing. I've heard some negative things about millennials, but that's great that. And so Dennis, kind of your involvement with this, did your family do some of the basic work, the grunt work, if you will?
That's a great thing in being passed on. And I was just going to say real quick before that, it looks like Laura's sons might be stopping in for a raise if they're listening to the show today.
If they're watching.
If they're watching right now, sounds like they might be stopping in after those plugs, Laura. So great job there.
I'll watch it, Mike.
It's great to be proud of them. So absolutely, Doc. My grandfather started, an excavation business with a hand shovel and a pickup truck. So the work ethic that went through from that generation, from his generation to my father's generation, to third generation with myself right now, the hard work, the ethic, the integrity that came with that is passed on. And I think it's so important. One of the things when I was growing up, my sandbox was our yard of equipment and trucks. So, if I wanted a baseball bat, my chores were to sweep the floors or to wash equipment down. When I was of age, I was able to go on sites as a laborer. Some of our employees are operators now. They were the operators back then when I was on a site sweeping a street and cleaning a development. Like Mike was saying, from the ground up. And I think that's so important for not only for the trust of the employees and them seeing you go through the stages and understanding what they're going through, but the work ethic. It just builds and you want to carry it. Our name is on the business. There's a pride factor with that through the family, that you want that work, that integrity just kind of follows you through. The lessons I've learned from sweeping floors and washing trucks are still with me today, no matter what we do. So it's so important, that aspect of it. The grunt work, as Mike said, the beginning stages, because that's what our business was founded on.
And Mike, has really been, and Mike, you've really been a champion to talk about the opportunities that young people can have coming right out of high school. Doesn't mean they can go to FDU or college, but talk about that. And I know your experience, as you said, you started out sweeping floors,
Right.
Talk about that and, what you're doing for young people.
What we've done is really manufacturing's a pretty good thing for people to get into. It's not like the old days. Everyone has a perception. We take the iron ore, we're smelting it, and it's like we all come out looking like coal miners with black soot over our face. It's pretty high tech today with all robotics and vision systems and special photo eyes, and so the level of skill is gone from here to here is what the technicians need. And the guys, a lot of the guys on the factory floor are probably making more than most college degree folks that aren't in the technical field, I'm going to say. they do very well for themselves with the pay and the overtime. And what we've done and we're trying to do, it's hard to get people to go into this, kids, because, as a parent, everyone is saying, oh, you got to go to college, got to go to college. And that's like today where I was at CCM, they're starting an apprentice program. We've done it. We have two guys in now, kids that are in an apprentice program from high school. And we pay for their schooling. They go to school one day a week. They go here the other days. And then at the end, they get a government certificate, a journeyman certificate. And those jobs are going to be in tremendous demand down the road, just because someone needs to fix the robot. Someone needs to understand how this all works. And not everyone's going to be able to just sit at a computer on a Zoom meeting like we're all doing, and make money. It's as things get more automated in the world, all those jobs are going to get automated too. And it's the way you have to do to survive, because we don't compete against the guy down the street. I mean, and all the big companies, we're competing against the world today. So.
But Dennis, I just want to, weigh in on what you're saying too. I think that on a micro level, I agree. Everybody's not going to have that college education and so on. So even at like a company like mine, a coffee shop, we're trying to provide some sort of career for people who want to be in the coffee industry. So not only is your job a barista, if you come to us, you might want to be a buyer of coffee. You might want to be a roaster of coffee. So we're trying to provide opportunities within that, the coffee industry per se. And also in Newark, one of our future goals, because we're still just trying to get through the pandemic, is to set up a coffee lab so that we can provide jobs for people who want to actually learn how to make coffee and be in the coffee industry. So we do it on a micro level, not the same level that you're doing in terms of like providing opportunities for younger people, but yeah, we're trying to do something similar.
At higher ed institutions like Fairleigh Dickinson University, where I'm a professor and run this Rothman Institute, we're looking at trying to create innovative programs that allow folks to start working right out of high school, but also on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, get the college degree.
Absolutely.
So parents can be happy that they're making money. They don't come out with a lot of debt, and they can do that. And so I think those kinds of programs are going to become, and Mike's been a champion of that for many, many years. So let's talk about the pandemic now. And Dennis, I'll start with you. What kind of pivot have you done with the pandemic? How has your business been affected? Some businesses have done better, some have done worse. Talk about what's going on with the pandemic.
Our actual, our excavation demolition, once business was deemed essential in our industry, right there during March, we were able to finish jobs we were currently on. We were able to continue our demolition site excavations that we were on. What we ended up pivoting is we found more and more residential projects were being undertaken. For instance, we probably dug more pools in the past 6 months than we have in probably 6 to 10 years, just because, again, with the limited travel, people were staying home right now. So the projects, whether it was, extending a backyard, digging out for a brand new pool, these things were becoming more prevalent, as far as us. Right now, we're starting to see a little more of the commercial end get back up, the sites that we're working on. So the actual work hasn't changed. It just it was tweaked a little which way we were going and the leads that we were having come in with us.
Wonderful. Now Mike is modest. So Mike's company, Norwalt Design, is one of the 5 best companies at what it does in the world. So it's not just the best in New Jersey. And so they make these high speed, and Mike, you can talk about this. And I want to hear about your pivot in the pandemic. They make these high speed machines. So if you have deodorant from J&J, they'll make the cap. It's like 400 a minute. Mike, talk about those machines. It's really.
If I look at anything behind me, you look at anything like here, pull some things off the shelf, but anything like a deodorant, like this is Zicam nasal stuff, anything like that, we make machines that put it together. So in this deodorant, there's 6 pieces. Someone's got to put them together, and we put them together 300, 500 a minute or so.
So that again, 300 to 500 a minute. I'm just amazed by that.
Yeah.
You built machines.
Yeah, we designed them here and build them all in New Jersey. And so we were primarily in the consumer goods industry. So we were building deodorant machines for the world, and that had slowed down a little bit in this in the fall. It was getting a little slow. And the end of last year, we had a strategic plan to go get into more medical device assembly. And we said, so we landed one small customer at the end of last year, and we're probably maybe 10%, 20, 15 on medical products. And then when COVID hit, I mean, the phones just stopped for the beginning in March. So, you know, we cut everyone's hours and kept people separate. We kept paying them. But it got scary for a minute. And then we got a call from one of our customers. And I can't say what the end user is, but they said that the big COVID test kit system, they needed someone to build a machine. And they said, they were partnering up with the healthcare company to build a new factory. And they're like, Mike, you'd be interested? I said, sure. And we had only done deodorants for them in the past and some other things. And we're like, oh, that'd be a great opportunity to get into healthcare and the medical device. And then, you know, they called us a couple of days later and said, here's the deal, Mike, you got 1 day to quote it. And this is big system, like, and we didn't even know how. All we got is a video of the parts. And then they said, you got 1 day to give us a price, 12 weeks to build it. I was like, holy crap. And we're like, and they're like, you have, this is for the country, blah, blah, blah. They had the flag waving, all that stuff, not quite. But anyway, so we're like, I got my guys together and so we came up with we came in early the next day at like, I don't know, 4:35, and we started working on how to do it because it's all custom machines. So we had to come up with an idea on how to do it to figure out a price. And then we gave them, okay, here's your price. And I called the customer, I said, look, I got everything ready. We can do it. I want to get my whole company together tomorrow just to make sure, because it's going to be crazy hours. Because basically we had to do something that would take us 40 weeks to do in 12 weeks. So got everyone, and I said, look, this is for the country. We got a super opportunity. Everyone's, we should do financially well. Hopefully everyone can get a bonus at the end and we can do something good for the country. And so we took it. And then I remember the first night I was sleeping with my eyes. I wasn't sleeping, had my eyes staring at the ceiling in the bedroom. I didn't know. I was like, how the hell? And so they split it up between us and a huge company that's like 8,000 people. That's like the big machine builder of the world. And I'm like, wow, they picked us. We only got this. Like it was a lot on our shoulders. And so we did it, and it was amazing how the company, everyone worked together, and like everyone I was so proud of everyone. It was incredible. And then we did that. And then we got another one from a spit test healthcare, another one from a different healthcare. We just landed another one from another healthcare company for COVID testing. So we went from wanting to get into medical device to like this year, our sales are going to be 80+% in medical device, which is crazy. We wanted to do that. And so it was a good, everything worked out, clicked in place. You couldn't ask for anything more.
Right. What do they say? Luck equals opportunity, and preparation.
Yeah.
So that's what. So Laura. So I understand the mayor comes, and the mayor of Newark and others, and you're well known. How are you pivoting now? I mean, the winter's coming and other things. What's your plan?
So our plan right now is what I was saying a little bit earlier about looking into the future. So yeah, we're trying to make sure that we keep our doors open for the community as long as we can through COVID. We're selling more coffee online and beans and things like that. We're doing more corporate types of gifts and so on for customers. So that's really been helping us. Our biggest thing is we're looking to a new opportunity similar to his in the sense that there's going to be a new terminal coming up at the airport. So we're looking to try and get our coffee in there. So we're looking at our coffee concern in terms of where else can we take this coffee business and grow the business. Okay, so that's why I say about looking, what we had spoke about earlier about looking into the future and seeing like where can I be when COVID is over, where will I be positioned? Okay, that's the biggest thing right now. Where will I land? Okay, and a lot of that takes the preparation now. So a lot of it is with the corporate, a lot of it is with hopefully getting our coffee on one of the airlines. You know, we're really working towards the future, as well as I said before, trying to keep doors open and making sure people are coming in for coffee and so on. So that's basically been the pivot for us, is trying to look to the future to see how we can grow the business and what opportunities are going to be available there.
Well, but it's critical too, and I say this, and New Jersey residents don't really think about this, is that, I mean, the stats are that New Jersey-based businesses give more back to the community than certainly online or big box stores. And so you're looking at the airport. You know, there should be pressure to say, where are these businesses headquartered in the airport?
Correct.
And where are they headquartered? And we as consumers have more power than we think we do. You know, I used to be a state official, and you know, they react to the people that yell the loudest. So I encourage, in addition to supporting family business, support New Jersey businesses and get them in the airport, get them to do, construction and so on. And so
absolutely, construction, all of it. I think being local does give you more, gives you more of a say. But to your point, Dale, I think you have to push it. It's not going to come naturally. No one's knocking on your door saying, "Hey, we have this opportunity for you." It's like you really got to search and really, knock on a lot of doors to find out where the opportunities are and how you're going to keep your business alive. I think the biggest thing right now is with the pandemic, people are really scared and worried, but I feel as though we should be looking at this as an opportunity. Yes, it's all bad and everything like that, but where's the opportunity here? Where can I grow my business? What can I do? What is the pivot going to be? You know what I'm saying? What are we going to do? How am I going to switch it around? Because we put all this, for you guys, you've been in business for 75 years, 40 years. Of course, you're not going to let anything drop. But for the small people like us, we've only been in for 4 years. That's still a lot of time. That's still a big investment financially for businesses like ours. And right. You don't want to see that go. You don't want to see it slip through your fingers because a little bit of bad luck. So the real question is to figure out how to keep your business alive best way possible, because we will get through this. We definitely will. I feel quite positive about that for some reason. I don't know why, but I do.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dennis, what about you? You're going into the winter time. I imagine that's a slow time for you. What are your plans?
Well, and just to say one thing off of Laura, I think the great point about that is if, even being an excavation demolition business, we're very diversified. We're doing drainage, we're doing tank removals, we're doing site remediation here. Not one, we're not in just one area. And I think that's very important getting through times like this, that you're diversified within your business for the different revenue streams. I think that's, extremely important. So that was a great point. And that's something for our growth, is looking at, where the leads are coming from, where we're working, and continue to grow those. So that's an outstanding point. As far as the winter, we work right through. We continue to go through. If the weather is good, where our demolitions are year round, even our site excavations and site cleanups, everything we do, we'll work. We continue. We have a full slate of work going right now through the winter. So we're going to continue to push forward with that and keep everybody moving.
Wonderful. So you're busy. This is great. And so, one of the things that we've tried to do is really advocate for policy, advocate for small businesses, and we've made progress, but I still am just surprised that more folks don't understand that the three of you and other small businesses are the job creators, and one of the things that I say is, family businesses treat employees better than big companies, government agencies, and nonprofits. And people don't really believe me. So talk a little bit about that. Any of you, about your connection with your employees, not just family members, but your employees. Laura said a little bit about that, but Mike, you want to?
Sure. I just got out of a meeting before this because we once COVID started getting bad, I split the company into 2 shifts in the factory, just because we can't have too many people together. And I just went over with the guys again, well, you know, and we think we're here for a long time, going to have to do this. You know, and it's not really fair to them, you know, and literally we just said, okay, we're going to have everyone work 35 hours a week. So they do 7-hour shifts. Otherwise it got too late at night. No. And, you know, the extra 5 we'll just pick up as a company. They don't have to use any vacation days. And then you're still trying to get people on second shift. So we're giving all those people bonuses on the second shift, every like $100 a week or so right now, just to keep them, because the sacrifice, they're not eating dinner with their wives and things like that, or husbands. And so it's the type of stuff we do when COVID hit. We made a vow not to lay anyone off, was our goal for the year. And we went through and you know, when that happened, we did everything we could. We split, you know, the company, did this, and, you know, we hung on. And where, you know, I think a lot of other bigger companies, you know, you don't look at people like, because we have a responsibility to their families. It's not them, but a lot of you know, the health insurance is through us. And, you know, you don't want to have the kids suffer, and, you know, that's the way you look at it. It's different. They're not a number really. And so those are the type of things you do. And at the end of the year, we always do profit sharing and bonuses out as we can, because it's really it's not me that's doing the work. I'm just here, you know, kind of like the orchestrator, I'll say. It's everyone else. If without them, we don't have any assets. There's no assets here, right? It's a building, but we don't own the building. You know, it's nothing to do with the company. So it's, you know, you got some computers, they're obsolete in a couple of years. So you really only got people's know-how that's up here and hard work. And without it, you got nothing.
And your assets, as you said, are the people. And so it's important for people to understand. So shareholder companies, the responsibility of management is to the shareholders. They don't care if employees are staying up all night. They don't care if employees are fired. And then there's nothing bad about it, but their responsibility is to the shareholders. You have a family business, your responsibility is to your employees, because the cost of turnover is so expensive as a relative basis for small family businesses. So the consumers need to understand that the responsibility is not to quality. And so, you know, and I try to keep saying that, but we still continue to not think about that. And so, Laura, now you're in Newark, and there are people who say, I was the head of the Newark Alliance for a while. They say, well, you know, it's hard to find good people in Newark. Now, you know, talk to me about that.
Yeah, no, it's not really hard to find good people in Newark. I think you just need to put the ads out and you know, draw them. As far as keeping the business alive and so on during the pandemic, what we're doing for our employees on a smaller level, again, we're a little bit different because we're smaller than, you know, Mike and Dennis. But, you know, we do like things like group shop. Okay. If I'm going shopping and we're going to Costco, we make sure that all the employees, if they need something, they can get something. Okay. So one person is going out there in the pandemic as opposed to every individual person. We try and do ride share so that, you know, again, reduce the risk. If somebody needs a ride, you know, someone else will pick them up so that we don't have to, you know, make sure that we're reducing the risk of the pandemic. As far as, what other things are we doing? I try and make sure that they all get a break in terms of, you know, giving them lunches. And when the pandemic actually started, we made like these care boxes for everybody with like the toilet paper, the sanitizer, the pastas, all of that. Here's your box, because we never know how bad it's going to get. Save it, put it away in case you need it. So, you know, we're doing things on a smaller level than what you guys are probably doing. But I think every little bit helps as far as they're concerned. Oh, also too, as soon as the pandemic hit, I was out there looking for grants and money to help us with the labor costs, because that was really important to keep people working. I really wanted to make sure that people had money in their pocket and we can keep the economy going. Yeah. So we lost a couple of people at the beginning because they were getting the unemployment and they were making more on unemployment than they would be coming to work. So that was a little bit tough. I was like, I get it. And then, once I explained it to everybody, they were like, oh, we can make more on on unemployment. So we did lose a couple of people. Then there were the group of people who were like, we're not doing that. Let's just, stay with what we have here at the job. And we've compensated them, as much as we can. But the biggest thing for me is definitely to keep the money in the community and keep the money flowing, because most of my employees actually do live and work in Newark. So it's important that we really, make sure that they're taken care of one way or another. So,
just going off what Mike and Laura said, I think the number one thing when it all hit was that kept all three of us up was we wanted to keep food on our employees' tables. That was the number one
100%.
thought, and it was quiet there because we didn't know in the middle of March which way it was going to turn. And the number one thought ever, I'd come home, my wife, Diana, I'd probably have look like a ghost at times and saying, we're going to get through this, period. But I just want to have everybody have a job during this time period, and just figure it out, because all of a sudden you don't know where it's going to turn right there. But and that's a great point. Like, your number one thought when you're our size business, your employees are your family are your employees. It goes both ways. We are so proud that the average tenure right now of our employee that's not a family member is 17 going on 18 years for an average employee. So that's family. It's not, I don't even use the term, it's family. That's why we're all here right now. Our concern is for, when we say family, it's not just, we share the last name. We share a lot more than that. We share a lot of hours during a week. We share a lot of hours during the year. And your concern during that time, especially, is again, if you're a larger business and you're saying it's easy to look at a line item and say, we have to cut X amount of employees, we have to cut X amount of budget. When you're our size, you're not doing that. You're cutting, you're cutting out somebody's family right there. And I think that's the difference, that's the difference between us and the larger companies.
I agree, Dennis, 100% with that. We even had people who were coming in, and even on days when they weren't getting paid, just coming in to help out, just make sure that, the shop is being run properly and things are getting done, because it is a family. You care about each individual who works for you. So I'm 100% with what you're saying on that.
Let's build on that and talk about, and Mike, I'll go to you about, community involvement. I know the company does stuff in the community, et cetera. Each of you talk about that.
Yeah, well, our big thing is, I guess, a little self-fulfilling, because we want to promote STEM, science, technology, engineering, manufacturing, right? And no one does that. So that's where we focus on, because we do work with a couple of robotics teams, sponsor them, and then we'll bring them in to here, show the kids around. Right, it has kind of died out right now because of COVID, but once it gets going, we do that, and we'll work with the kids from some of them are in middle school already doing this stuff, just to get them a sense of what the real world's like and what can be done with their lives, whether they want to go into college or go into manufacturing or whatever it is. At least they see what's out there. And then we we'll work with that. And then we also work with colleges on projects where we sponsor projects for engineering students to, you don't make, it's kind of just giving them work to fail so they learn. Because that's how you really learn the most, is you give them a project to do and they screw it up. I always got to tell the professors, because the professors are kind of stupid. Because they just, they don't understand the speed of industry. I'm like, you got to give them time. Let's make them screw up. It's okay, but give them time to fix it and make it work so they understand. And those are the type of things we like to put our focus on. We'll go to like high schools if I have to, and try to help get the kids in there so they can go into the manufacturing, because we're always looking for kids that we can help pay for their programs, apprenticeships, and it's just finding the people is the hard part, right? And so that's why we concentrate trying to do that type of work.
And Laura, you're connected with the community. What kinds of things are you doing with the community?
I didn't hear you.
Yeah, what kinds of things are you doing with the community? What kind of community?
Oh, as far as the community is concerned, we work very closely with the arts community as well. We still have a platform at our shop where people can, where artists actually can show their work and sell their work. So that's one of the ways that we're doing, working with the community. We're also just being open. So many other customers are saying just having you here during this quarantine period is something that we really need to have, because it gives a little bit of normalcy to their lives again, just being able to come get your cup of coffee, go back to work, even if it's back to work in your apartment or your your condo, wherever, your house. So I think being there, working with the community, and the arts community in that particular way is good. We have a lot of events at the shop, but now since the pandemic, not so many. Now it's just a matter of people coming in and getting their coffee and seeing people that they know outside of the shop. So it's still that community, how would you say, place to be, so that you can see people that you know, even if it's only for 5 or 10 minutes, to give like a little fist bump and find out what's going on in the community. So that's basically what we've been doing right now.
That's wonderful. And I don't know if you have any of the artwork with you now, but maybe not with you now, but
I don't, but I should actually show you at some later date, because it's actually most of the artists who have been at the shop have actually sold 2 and 3 pieces, because it's original work. It's something that people aren't doing, and it's priced correctly. I bought a couple of prints myself just for my house, because I'm like, someone's birthday. Actually, it was my husband's birthday. It was my husband's birthday, and I obviously didn't go out and get a present. And I'm thinking, it's COVID. You can't just run out and go get something now. You know what I mean? But I'm like, I have something on the walls right here. Let me just buy that. Brought it. He loved it. I was like, but you passed it every time you've been in the shop, and you never noticed that that was the gift. So I'm like, okay. But my point is that it actually is helping the arts community. We were in the New York Times as, supporting the arts community and things like that. So we do that. And I think just our presence being there is 100% something that the community is valuing, because I feel like I wouldn't even be in business if it wasn't for the community. The community has been there supporting us day in, day out. Every day when I think like, we might have to close for a little bit, I get text messages, emails, Instagrams. Oh no, what's happening? Like, what can we do? Do you want to GoFundMe? I'm like, no, we don't need a GoFundMe page. But I'm like, we're doing our best. We're doing our best. But the community has been like 100%. I'm surprised myself. So it gives me the motivation to keep the coffee shop open. Plus, Dennis and Mike, you guys give me the motivation. When I think 45 years, I'm like, would I be in business that long? I don't know.
Yeah, you absolutely will.
You too. It's very inspiring, because I just keep thinking of those numbers, 45. That's a long time. But I think I could do it.
Oh yeah. You got to sit back and get your boys there so you can sit back and watch them.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think,
exactly.
The community, it's definitely, when you think about it, and again, going on 75 years, our business has been in the same town for that long. Wow. And what's exciting about that is I think back to the stories, and again, remember in the later years of my grandfather and my father always giving back, again, being in the excavating business, whether it's regrading a park for somebody in the town, whether it's doing something at City Hall. The Morris Canal, and the historical canal goes through, through Clifton, and we dredge that out for them. And then various things that you could do, giving back to the little leagues, to schools. I think it's all community based. I think it's outstanding, especially again, there's also, I don't want to say, but there is a responsibility. You've been in a town that long. Your name, I'm 3 generations. My father, we went to the high school, we grew up, we played sports all together. The name is known. You want to give back to the community, where your employees live, where we grew up. And there's nothing better than that than drive by a park and say, hey, we help make that better for the kids. We help make that area better. And, just the feeling you get, you just want to continue to do that, from our end. I think that's what we're very proud of.
Yeah. And I know I see Norbert, is watching, and so hey there, Norbert, who's Mike's dad. And again, I typically talk to the multiple generations, and it's such a sense of pride that that I know, Laura, you have with your kids. I know Norbert has with Mike, and Dennis, your dad, and that's such a it's such an American. It sounds corny, but an American thing. This is the American business. It's built on entrepreneurship, and we've just lost our way because we think that bigger is better. And the idea is that, and that's why we're preaching to the choir, but we want the audience to really become not just supporters but advocates. I'm almost evangelical about this because this is where the jobs are. And the more we allow shareholders, I got my MBA from Wharton, so I went to Wharton. And a lot of these people are on Wall Street, and their goal is to minimize expenses. And how do you minimize expenses? By employing as few people as possible for as few hours as possible. It's the total opposite with family businesses. So comment on that, please comment on that as we get near the end.
I know with like our employees, if you come and you work for us, you're getting your 40 hours, and you're getting minimum of your 40 hours per week. And we look at that. We're not bringing anybody on unless we can guarantee that paycheck that's going to be there for their family, and they're getting a full week. Construction, bad weather days, sometimes jobs, do get postponed, get pushed off. You get winter, you get some slow times. We make sure our employees are employed. They're coming to work. They're going to have something to do that day. Whereas, we're not looking at the bottom line as far as numbers. We're looking at the bottom line as far as care. And I really mean that. Like, we're there. If you come and you're going to work, we want these employees to be here as long as they want to be here. When you have a job, you have a job as long as you want. Our turnover has been because somebody's had to move away or move to another state. Our pride is continuing to keep the employees. Again, you give them a safe, number one, with us is safety. You give them a safe environment to work. You give them, fair wages. You take care of them. You give them great benefits. You do all you can do. And the different things like Mike was talking about, I think it's, that's what everybody's looking for. They're looking for an environment where they feel safe. They know they get a good paycheck. It's fair at the end of the day, their benefits and your concerns for them and their families. I think that's, when you go work for a larger company, when you work for somebody, you don't know. I'm sure we all know people that were working for larger companies before, during this period of COVID, and a department got completely wiped out, and now they're, you see it all the time. I'm sure we've all come across this right now where we know somebody that's looking for work because they work for a larger firm.
Yep.
Yeah, Dennis, I would just, piggyback on what you're saying about creating a safe environment for people. I feel as though our coffee shop for the employees is like their second home. Okay. When they come in, they feel comfortable. They know that they're taken care of. I agree with you about the fair wage. You want to pay well so that so you don't have a high turnover, and we don't either. That's the funny thing about it. It's most of the people who are working for us have been working for us for, as long as we've been open, basically. And I think we do that because of the way we treat the employees. And I think also when you're working at a coffee shop like ours, something that's small, you have what I like to think about in terms of the employees, you have the opportunity to grow in an area that you may be good at. So I might hire you as a barista, but really you're really good at social media. Well, we need a social media person, there's something for you. So you're not just stuck in this one job doing the same thing day in, day out. You do have the opportunity to grow. And I think I mentioned this before, in different areas of the industry, if that's what you want to do. Some baristas have told me, I'm an artist, I'm a this, I'm a that, so I don't have time to really go into another career. So I just want to be a barista, and that's fine too. You know what I mean? That's fine too. But I think that you are correct, Dennis, when you say, and you, Mike, both of you, that you want your employees to feel as though your place of work is like a home to them. And I think my employees feel that way. So I'm really happy about that, because I was wondering how it's going to be, what's going to be like, but having employees is actually a good thing. It's actually, like you said, they're just family. So you just, you take care of them the best way you can.
And let's talk as we come to the end about finance. Now, Mike, I know you guys have great relationships. Whoever your banker is, you may need some loans to build your equipment. Dennis, same thing. You guys, and Laura, you're the small, newer business. how have you found getting capital? Has that been a real challenge?
Is this a question directed to me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. As far as getting capital as a small business, as I said earlier, my first, once COVID hit, the first thing I started doing was looking to get money, getting that capital, how we're going to grow the business, where's the money going to come from. I spend at least 1 to 2 days a week out of, the entire week of running the company and everything like that, 1 to 2 days looking for capital and looking for money and filling out, applications and talking to people and, negotiating where that's coming from. So as a newbie in this, now that I'm starting it, I can't say it's been difficult because I'm just starting to capitalize, to get outside capital other than, what we put in as a family. So I can't say it's been difficult yet, but I anticipate it's not going to be easy. Let's put it that way. So I think it's really important to, any of the family businesses out there to make sure that those finances are in order and make sure you understand what people are asking for so that, once you've done it for one company, you're doing it for a lot of the other companies. You have that base of information that you need for your finances, and you can apply to multiple banks. You can go to multiple people for money.
Let me ask Mike, because you have high expensive equipment. How do you capitalize your projects?
Well, we're fortunate because they're so customized that we're pretty good at negotiating with our customers. So we get deposit payments as we go. So we'll say, okay, we'll do 30% down, 30% once we have to pay our suppliers, 20% when we're complete before we start testing, and then when they pass the test at our facility, so 10%. So we try to get most of it, up front before we ship it, which really, it really helps us on that. I mean, we're doing some where a huge line we ship to China for a big company, and they've been holding money for like a long time, like the last percent. So that's the struggles we get into, and then you're basically going up the corporate ladder trying to ask for help. But we're fortunate in that, and because we got something that people want, so we're able to do some good negotiating on terms. So fortunately we're able to do that, but it's getting worse because the terms now, all the big companies are trying to go to like 180 to get 180-day payment terms.
Wow.
Which is crazy because you ship and you don't have a penny.
Right.
So it's always a battle on that.
And people don't understand that. Dennis, you do some big projects. How do you capitalize what you do?
I think, we have some real long-standing, I think the one thing in New Jersey that's great is you have some great community and banks that have been around before that we're still working with that, before I was around with our business. And I think, again, it just comes down to the relationships, with, for our equipment, a lot of it goes through the dealerships, goes through the manufacturers. If we're purchasing Caterpillar, a lot of time it'll go through finance. But for day-to-day operations, I think, kind of like Laura's saying, you reach out, it's relationships with the community. You talk to the different banks, you see what different options they have. Again, we're very fortunate because we've been with a couple banks that have been with us for a very long time. We've been with them. And I think it just comes down to just always constantly checking on your finances, talking to different, again, even though you have longstanding relationships, you're always checking what's out there. Again, when COVID hit, making sure that everything was done properly, as far as be able to get the financing and get us through this time was, the ability to pick up the phone and call somebody that's going to pick up the phone on the other end and have that discussion is the number one thing that I would say is so important. To have that relationship with the person that in the bank that's handling your money is more important than anything.
Well, we're at the end of time, and next week we're off. I'll be away, so we won't have a session. But hopefully in 2 weeks, no matter who wins, we will be through this presidential election. So the next time we have that, and I think a lot of things are just held up for this. No matter who you support, that people are saying let's wait till that, and a lot of people are saying wait till 2021.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of customers are saying that.
A lot of customers are saying that, and so this is a tough time. I've often said that the New Year's Eve will be more about a celebration of getting out of 2020 than getting into 2021. So we'll do that. But I just want to thank you. Congratulations. I hope the audience can see why you're the winners. You're doing everything right in a very difficult time. So But thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank
Glad
you.
to help you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Please support them. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Again, you have a great weekend, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Okay, take
All
care.
right, so long.
Bye, Dennis. Bye, Mike.
We'll see you guys soon. Thank you.